How you doing? Good.
Without Bobby Brown up there, how will you guys sort of work to fill that role that he's taken on for you?
Obviously guys are gonna have to play a little bit more. Kobe have to play a lot more in base. So, you're gonna miss him, but you got to get back healthy. We just got to try to hold him down while he's out. So.
When you look at how well they're running the ball, what do you see?
They just doing a lot of good things. We just got to worry about what we need to worry about. Obviously, like I say every week, stick to the game plan, practice, understand what you're going to be getting, how it's going to come, and try to, be prepared for it the best way you can, and do what we need to do to be gap sound and stop them. So,
Aaron, you've gotten a lot of attention from offensive coordinators in terms of scheming against you through the years, but is there anything different that's happening this year? Are you getting even more guys on you or different looks that you haven't seen before?
Same old stuff. You just got to keep playing, trying to find ways, and guys around you just got to continue to just keep going and when they one-on-ones if they want to try to focus on one person. So I'm just one guy, so he's still got 10 other guys on the field. So they want to try to slow down one person, another guy just got to step up. So all I can do is just keep playing. Hopefully, get my opportunities, take advantage of them, and go from there. So.
On Sunday, Jalen Hurts hit you guys for a couple third down scrambles.
Yes.
When you're facing a mobile quarterback, does that change the way you pass rush on third down?
Well, you got to be a little bit more gap sound, but you still want to be aggressive. You still want to, pin your ears back and get after them. But at the same time, at times, if one guy is free, you got to trust that the next guy next to you will make you right to wrap in or contain him so he can't get out the pocket. So obviously that was something that hurt us last week on some big third downs. So obviously watching film, trying to fix those things so we can continue to play fast, but contain the quarterback. So.
Did you watch the film on that, Aaron? Is that something that you can change, or is it he's a pretty darn great athlete?
There was missed tackles too, obviously. So it's stuff like that you expect to make the play, and then it might be a missed tackle or somebody probably take an inside move or get an edge up a little bit for him to wrap around and get out on the edge on us. So it's little things that can be corrected and be fixed. So. Yep.
What have you seen out of Josh Dobbs when you're looking at their tape and you see their quarterback? What are you kind of seeing?
Obviously, another mobile guy. I think he's playing good football for them right now. Doing a lot of good things. They got some good quarterback runs, and he was able to make some big plays, hurt them with their feet, making some good throws. So, like every other quarterback in this league now, they're all mobile, right? So you got to try to find a way to slow them down, keep them in the pocket, and get after them. So that's it.
Are you satisfied with the execution and the tackling from the entire group right now, and how do you continue to coach that and reiterate this?
Well, it started on the practice field. Obviously, we can't tackle, but you simulate thudding up, get your pass squared, and everybody swarming to the ball to trying to correct those things. So that's something that we need to work on today because you can't continue to, have a week like we did last week, missing tackles. That's just not us. So you clean those things up. You talk about it in the meeting room what we need to do to be better at that. And you on the practice field, when you get the pads on, get to work that and get some good thud ups. Everybody floating to the ball, working to the ball, and them things can be corrected. So.
No, it was. Sean was pretty emphatic at the podium saying he thought you guys were close. Does it feel that way to you, and does it feel different than maybe some of the games you were losing last year?
Yeah, I don't think we're playing bad football. There's just a couple mistakes here and there. Again, missed tackles, missed opportunities that we're leaving on the field that, you wish you had back, but it's the nature of the game, But you got to try to eliminate those mistakes. Definitely in the NFL, you make too many mistakes, you give up too many big plays, you tend to be the team that lose the game. So I don't think we're playing bad, but we just got to play better, more consistent, better on third down at times as a defense, trying to eliminate some of them big penalties that hurt us before half. So it's stuff you don't worry about it, but you get a little frustrated about it, but you just got to keep working, keep playing. I think guys is playing good football. I think we still ain't put it all together. I think once we do that, man, we're going to be the team that we want to be. I think we got the talent here. I think we got the coaches. We just got to go out there and execute it and do it. So.
Limited snaps, but what did you see from O'Shawn Mathis in his debut?
He did some good things, had some nice little rushes, nice little spin he had, but again, you just got to keep working, keep getting better, and obviously him being back into the mix, getting comfortable playing with the guys and understanding how we play so he can be able to go out there and be productive. So, yeah.
We're roughly a third of the way into the season. What do you think, what's the one thing the defensive line and edge rushers do best right now?
I think guys play hard. We got to play with a lot of effort. So we got to continue to do that. But as a front, as a pass rush unit, we got to be better, a little bit better as, getting after the quarterback, one-on-ones, a little bit more technique in pass rush situations. Again, if they want to slide the protection and continue to focus on one person, you got a lot of opportunities out there with the one-on-ones to, make the big play that we need. So we just got to keep working on that, and it's going to come. So.
If a team gets, like they did last week, gets the ball back, 32 seconds left in the half, 75 yards to go. In your mind, is there any way that they can do that?
In my head, I'm like, they're not in it. So that's what made me. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I was frustrated about. I was mad about that. That lingered on me till about Monday night. So honestly, but again, we gave up some plays and with some penalties that hurt us and some things that we could have did better. We got to try to eliminate that type of stuff, but we can't have that as a defense. That's not us. That can't be acceptable. That just don't sit well with me. And we're gonna fix those things. We're gonna clean those things up, and we'll be better at that. So.
All set?
Yeah.
Like looking at first half to second half over the first part of this season, what would you characterize as some of the reasons you guys have maybe come out a little slow in the second half?
Yeah, haven't, especially the last few, right? Seattle came out and had as good of a second half as you could ask for, and just been able to get it done at the level we have in the first half, right? The execution is just a little bit off. We got to be better as coaches to make sure that the guys know exactly what we're asking from them in those situations. Really, that it's. Everyone says that. I mean, it's so close in so many circumstances. What's probably been the most disappointing is when we've, particularly in the San Francisco game and Philly game, when you've gotten down 2 scores, or kind of that quasi 2-minute mode where it's not 2 minutes, but you're in urgency mode. That hasn't been up to our standard, and we know we can be better there, and we'll get that corrected.
What was it like having Cooper cut back in the mix in a game, and going forward without Van Jefferson? How does that affect?
Yeah, no, it's first of all, I'll just answer the one on Van. is a special person, and it's going to be a great opportunity for him. Obviously, I've only had the 7 months or so, however long it's already been, with him. But wish him the best of luck. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him. Having Cooper back was awesome, right? And you guys could see that as evident in that first drive, And again, it's his first time playing real ball in a long, long time. So can only see him continuing to go up. That guy takes as good a care of himself as any pro I've ever been around. So as good of a day statistically as he had, he's always going to be critical on himself to put his best foot forward every week.
That first touchdown pass to 2-2, you've got him and Cooper lined up. They go in opposite directions. Like, how much does someone like Cooper's gravity open things up for the other guys in this offense now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're always going to know where Cooper Kupp's out on the field. Sometimes when in a heat of battle, you'd be surprised in like a zone coverage setting how it's more about the defense just getting to where they're supposed to get to and schematically stop it and not worry about where the players are, particularly when you're down in the red zone. I mean, the thing that Cooper does so well that will always go unrecognized is just how detailed he is to grab people's attention just with the route structure and the route detail. So, I don't want to say anyone can do it because not everyone can. Not everyone can be as detailed as he is, but that's what makes him so special. He's already a great football player, but his mind, as you guys all know, is just awesome. So he knows how to grab defenders. If he doesn't grab them, it's going to end up being his ball, and he'll do the transitions and all that. If he does grab the defenders, he's open up his boys, and he knows Matthew's going to get at the right spot.
One big sample size, obviously, but what do you like about the looks you guys were able to get in the passing game with both Cooper and Cook out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, you have one of the best receivers in the game out there, so anytime, you have that. But again, it was a good first half for us, but like we've already alluded to, the second half, we got to figure out a way to continue that string that we've been getting in the first half of games. It's really been, 3 of the last 4 games where we've played really well in the first half, and really in the Cincinnati game, we had some, we're up and down the field the first, 2 of the first 3 drives, just weren't able to finish it, scoring touchdowns. In the Indy game, the Philly game, and the San Francisco game, we were scoring touchdowns, so it was a whole different kind of second half, obviously. But we got to string it together for 60 minutes, and that's on us coaches to figure out and get it to the players and make sure that happens.
How would you describe the kind of year Matthew's having right now?
He's having a good year. He really is. He's having fun being back out there, and B, he's putting the ball where it needs to go. He's doing everything he can. There's been some, without diving into it, it takes all 11. It's always going to be on the quarterback when things aren't going as perfect, when we're not scoring 35 or 40 or whatever have you. But he's playing well. He's going to continue to play well. He's going to continue to only get better and more comfortable as we kind of grow with this offense. Again, it's been Puka's 5th game. It's been Cooper's first game back. You can only, think that this is going to continue to get better and better as we go.
From a coaching perspective, how difficult or challenging is it to lose offensive weapons like a Cam Akers or a Van Jefferson? I know you have to make a lot of adjustments in real time anyway, but what's that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, you're always prepared for those kind of circumstances. We've all been a part of, myself personally, what happened here last year. I mean, you just got to roll with the punches with that stuff, and that's the truth. Like, you might just think I'm just saying that thing, but if I'm sitting there worried about it too long, then I'm worried about the wrong stuff. You go in a game with what you got. You have a backup plan for, you lose a guy, you lose 2 guys. Hey, who's the next man up? He better be prepared. He's not going to be able to get the amount of reps that you want to get him throughout the week, but, mentally the position coach is making sure they're putting them through it, post-practice, in the meeting room, stuff like that. So when their numbers called, they're ready to go.
You said something pretty interesting the other week about just, Stafford can make any throw, the high-level throws, the very difficult throws especially, but you also mentioned, he shouldn't have to do that every single play. It's just not efficient. So how do you guys get more of the middle, for lack of a better phrase, the middle difficulty things, especially as you're bringing along a pretty young group of guys?
Totally. And it's the first half of games, we have been doing that at a really high level, and for whatever reason, I think it's still a small sample size with all that. I know it's going to happen. I know we're close with putting a full 60 minutes on paper, or in the 3 hours worth of playing. So I know that's going to come because they've shown they can do it. And so we just got to keep pressing and keep showing not just Matthew, but all 11 guys, the whole offense, hey, this is what we're expecting right here. Go do your job. Let's go execute that job, and then we'll get the result we want for a full 60.
Is there a moment in the game or maybe in the practice leading up where you saw Cooper do something and you said, wow, that's the guy that all, the coaches in here and that the guy you saw from afar?
Yeah, and that's a great question because from afar, it was really all week last week. Yeah, he wasn't here in OTAs. I've obviously never been with him. So, him not practicing OTAs, again, I just know him as Cooper Kupp, the guy that I've watched, whether it be in the division or from afar. And then even when he was back in training camp, he strung together some pretty good days, but he wasn't fully himself yet. He didn't feel fully healthy, and then obviously went on IR for those 4 weeks. So all I saw was him in cleats and shorts, with our training staff trying to get right. Last Wednesday when it was the first practice, it was like, that's Cooper Kupp, And what was cool about it was not just because he was moving around making plays, because he was out there and you could tell he felt good. He was smiling. He was happy. And these guys, when they feel good, this is their job. This is what they love to do. And you could see it right from the get-go on Wednesday. And, again, it came to fruition for him on Sunday. But like I keep saying, for all 11, us coaches included, we got to figure out a way to string 60 minutes together.
Rob, you, Gary.
Oh, okay, sorry.
If it's the last one, go ahead. If it's the last one, let her go. That's fine.
You guys have been pretty effective in, especially with the motions you've been using, getting guys good releases, clean releases on line. Are you starting to, especially the timing concept specifically, those deep shots Matthew was talking about?
Sure.
Are you noticing defensive players playing those differently in the upper middle or early middle of the concept because they know that release is clean off the line?
Not necessarily. Every team's going to have a different plan with this, right? And kind of these speed motions that we're doing, that a lot of teams are doing right now, right? Miami's doing it a ton. We're doing it a ton. San Francisco's mixing it in. A lot of teams are. Every week you got to figure out kind of what's the defensive plan going to be, because if you say you're just going to lock your guys, a lot of bad stuff could happen there because the guy's going full speed, right? I think I saw some coach call it a cheat motion recently. I don't know if that was Kyle up north or whatnot, but it's the truth. You get this guy a full head of steam legally because they're not going forward, and then right at the snap of now next thing you know, he's caught up to the play pretty dang quickly. So every week's going to be a little bit different. I think just like anything, this is kind of a trend in the offensive world, and there's going to be a trend in the defensive world, how to stop it. I think it's fairly early right now to say, this is what defenses are going to do. I think every week's a little bit different right now. So, go ahead.
This is going to sound a little bit elementary, but, when they're on defense, you got a player like Aaron Donald that gets 3 or 4 players devoted to him, so much focus on stopping him and forcing other guys on your defense to get to the quarterback. How come it doesn't work the other way on offense, where you're like, you guys have a guy like Cooper Kupp that is so integral to what you guys do, and yet you don't see the same kind of, at least, manpower devoted to taking him out of the game?
And don't tell Aaron I said this, but Aaron's going to line up in that box. And I'm sure if Aaron wanted to play free safety, he could figure out a way to play it pretty well because he's Aaron Donald, But when you're kind of in that box, there is, in some aspects, not totally, but in some aspects, you can say, hey, this is how we're going to handle him, because we at least know 99 is going to be right here. We know that Bosa is going to be right here. And so you think you give yourself the best chance because at least it's there. When you're a receiver and there's moving parts and you're not a static type offense, it at times can be a little bit more difficult. I don't want to, people can take people away. We've seen Bill Belichick do it at a very high level for a lot of years, and a lot of good coaches around this league can do that. But I think to answer your question from a skill perspective, because there's so much moving parts and you have 53 and a third yards to work with, it's very different than obviously that being up in the front right there in that box. So, great question. Thanks, Gary. See you guys.
I'm out of here. I'm just kidding.
Warning us ahead of time?
No, I'm just joking. I'll give you guys whatever time you need, particularly Kurt.
Aaron just came in here and said that the defense is progressing, but all together yet?
It's kind of more of a team thing, I think Aaron's probably referring to. Like, we got to play better complimentary ball. We've had moments of, like, brilliance. You know, we've had halves of brilliance. And then there's moments where we have plays that we give up because of not even a lack of discipline or a lack of something like that, just like a lapse in your play at those moments. So he's trying to talk about those things. He's saying, like, what I think he's saying. I don't want to speak for Aaron, but I think he's saying we got so much room to improve, and the guys have gotten so much better so fast that your expectations rise throughout everybody and across the board. So they rise for yourself, they rise for the coaching staff, they rise for our head coach, they rise for the media, just everybody. So it gets better and better as you go. So we do, man. We got so much room to improve. We got so much light at the end of that tunnel, so to speak. You know, you played against at least two of the top echelon teams in our league, according to records. You know, you're talking about 2 5-0 opponents, and got a chance to measure yourself those days, and you were competitive. And we will never, ever look at it as, hey, we played those guys really tough. Way to go. No, how do you find ways to win those football games? I think he's referring to those things.
Like that's just a practice thing or a
You know,
time thing? Or
with our youth, I think it's practice, and I also think it's a part of going out and doing it, you know, and expecting to do it and wanting to go out there and do it. I think, you know, some of the really good defensive players that I've been around, they go out and expecting to win. They go out expecting to make plays. And I think that expectation level has to just be embodied in all of us, and I think it will be.
How do you replace Bobby Brown's snaps?
Tough, man. I think Bobby Brown was playing really well, playing at a high level for us, but we've been fortunate to have Kobe go out there and really play some stuff for us. And Jonah, you know, obviously those guys can play some of the reps for us. You know, obviously we're able to split some of those Kobe and Bobby reps based on base and some of the bigger structures. And we're able to give Kobe a rest to get him in some of the smaller structures and also spell them in. But we'll definitely rely heavier on Kobe and some of those guys, those younger guys that we have. You know, Mercer playing at a high level for us, and we've had Jonah out there playing really well for us. So we'll get some stats from those guys a little bit extra and be able to do it that way.
And then when you have those late clock situations that have come up a couple of times, how do you work on that as coaches, and how do you guys, I guess, keep that from happening?
Yeah, it's the 2 minute versus San Fran and the 2 minute versus Detroit, the two we got to clean up. And you can't give up explosives. That's the main thing. You can't let them down there. And then we had 2 huge penalties at those moments in those critical situations. But there was also play calls that we can help them out with there too. So some of the onus goes on the coaching, some of the onus goes on the players. But it's really about going out there and doing that stuff over and over again and not making those same mistakes. And we made that mistake twice at the end of 2 halves, and we can't allow it to happen. You know, like those are the things that not allow you to win the game. Those are the things you got to get over as a coaching staff and as a team and find ways to win as opposed to losing those moments.
You look at the broken tackles or missed tackles by Jalen Hurts, and then moving forward against a versatile quarterback again this week. Is that something you accomplish in practice or in film, or how do you?
Definitely you accomplish it in practice, right, Kurt? But you don't ride the emotional roller coaster, right? Last week, we missed too many tackles. We missed tackles on critical situations, 3rd down and 6 or 7, or 3rd down and 8, 3rd down and 9, particularly with a scrambling quarterback. And then you had Swift, but you don't make excuses. Guys that are elusive that can make plays, they're all over the place. But last week, we definitely missed too many tackles in critical situations that allowed us not to get off the grass to help us play complimentary ball, right? We are able to get off on a few of those huge 3rd downs, and it's so hard to get the Eagles in 3rd down and long, right? And then we were able to get them in those moments at 3rd and 8, at 3rd and 9, at 3rd and 12, and it's just heartbreaking. And you can look at my face on the sideline when you break a tackle and pick up the amount of yards you need, particularly with these guys, because you know what they don't get it, they're going for it on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2. And that was just a crushing moment for us that didn't allow us to be our best version of ourselves. But for sure, you answered your question yourself. You know, the only way you get better at that is practice. The only way you get better at that is in the meeting rooms with awareness. You put emphasis on certain things. Last week, you put more emphasis on the red zone. You got better results. This week is being emphasis on the tackling. We'll get better results there. And I'm really confident with the guys. And they've been playing really well, tackling really well. And last week, they ran across a buzzsaw called Jalen Hurts and Swift. And I don't want to take away from Swift and some of the things they were to do on their breaking tackles. You know, they're big wideouts as well. So the buzzsaw last week. And I think these guys will bounce back from it and learn from it and get better.
Just a couple more, guys.
Two-part question. Zach makes his first career sack the other day. He's, someone who came in the middle of last season, missed install. How did you kind of see him approach balancing practice squad with learning your system?
I think you're being nice. You said middle of the last season. I don't know when Zach showed up. Maybe the last. Did he show up week 2 last year? Wow, you're better than me. I remember Zach. Probably about week 18, it feels like, but doesn't matter. But he got in. He was just really athletic guy that you see move around, do a little bit of things. He didn't really work with defense. He's working on scout team primarily. But then he had an off-season chance to really learn it and get around and grasp the defense and know what's going on. And now he's becoming one of those guys who's smart, can go out there and pretty much execute whatever you need him to get executed. And then last week to see him get gratified with his hustle, with the sack is awesome as a coach. You know how I feel about stats, but in the game, you go, who got that? And they say Zach. You say, oh, that's awesome, because you don't even really know who gets the production or who gets what. Usually I ask Aaron, did you get that? No. Zach got it, But it's one of those things, and it's just like I'm fired up for the kid. I'm fired up where he's come from. I'm fired up to have him. I love his energy. I love his play style. I love the things he's doing for on special teams, the things he does for us on defense, his attention to detail, and we got no chance but to get better when you got guys like that.
You have Zach getting more snaps, O'Shawn making his season
Sure.
debut, Duke with the third down pass breakup.
No doubt.
You know injuries are going to happen in the NFL. How do you
100%.
balance trying to keep your best 11 on the field versus trying to give those depth pieces some play in case they are needed for a bigger role later?
I think you always continue to play the best human, play the best person. It's always going to be based off practice and when you get those opportunities. And Duke popped out there last week when Akello went down for a little bit and really did a great job making that big pass break up in the end zone. Zach getting a chance to get in there in the rotation and getting the sack. You just seen it throughout. Russ last year when he got in the game, made some explosive plays, some really good things. Quentin Lake is another guy that's going out there and finding more roles and trying to get more snaps and find more things for him to do. We got so many roles and so many different personnel packages that you can mix these guys in and find the best 11 to go out there and find a way to get your best wins that week, because it could be different every single week and how you want to do it. And I love this young group. I've been talking about them from the beginning of the season. I love them at 2-3, the same way I love them at 0-0. And I really believe that we are going to show that we are a lot better than most people thought. And I really believe that these guys are going to grow together and find something special.
Just talk to us after the game. He seemed pretty frustrated.
Yeah.
How were you? And he was talking about how close he felt you guys were. How
Sure.
did you feel?
I'm probably different. I'm probably different that way. You guys been around me long enough to know frustration, yes. Wanting these guys to win for the amount of effort and stuff that you see them put into it, no doubt. But I'll probably move on a little quicker than most. I'm able to go and process it, look at it, evaluate what happened, what went wrong, very quickly say we didn't tackle well today. We can't have that catastrophic mistake at the end of the half, right? And then you give yourself a chance to win, right? And we still had a chance to win. And it's like, how do we get rid of those things? How do you eliminate those small things? The earth isn't ending for me when they score a touchdown at the end of the half. The earth isn't ending when we miss a few tackles, because I know those things are very correctable, right? I know those things are very easily for us as a coaching staff and as a player to go out and get those things done the following week, because I've seen them do it before. I've seen us tackle great. I've seen us not tackle great now. And I want to go out there and make that thing better. And I think if we can do those things and we can clean up a few miscues from whether it be coaching, whether it be playing, whatever it is, I think you give yourself the best chance to win. There will always be this game, there will always be bad calls. There will always be bad plays. There will be always great plays made by great players. And as a coach, when Aaron Donald gets a sack, I'll just take credit for it. When we mess it up, I'll come up here and tell you guys it was somebody else's fault. No. It's not how it works, man. We're all in this thing together, right? So we got to go out there and find ways to win those games.
This is
Really quickly,
This
last
is
one.
more of a teaching question. The 2 weeks where tight end touchdowns, and then Michael Hoyt's like in Harris sort of defender.
Yeah.
And what is supposed to happen there, and what ended up happening?
So Michael Hoyt in coverage, so we got the Ali Mo Cox big touchdown a couple weeks ago in the Indies. We're playing fire zone. He's got him matched up in coverage. It becomes a scramble drill. And we could have had any DB we wanted on him. We wouldn't have made that coverage on the other side of the field if you don't sack the quarterback or get him on the ground or not let him get out the pocket and make that play. This week, nice little gimmick play by those guys. Supposed to have some over-top help. We missed the over-top help, had a little bust on that type of deal or a miscommunication, and we got to get him some help on that one. So it is what it is. We give him a lot of hard assignments. Not usually one-on-one. Usually he's within this framework of a zone, whether it be a fire zone or whether it be some type of a 3-deep zone or a quarters type of match like those guys do. But you can get caught up in some bad matchups as an outside linebacker on some of these guys. And this week versus that tight end, really loading to sleep. Did a nice little twirl bird there, what we call a pepper route, and was able to get open and get some yards and able to capitalize. Luckily, I think Kello ended the drive for us in that one and got us a nice pick and got us out of Dodge.
That's it.
You had something, Gary? Go ahead. No, Gary, I'm not gonna. Gary, I see you. Gary, I see you sit here all times of night. I am going to give you the respect to get your question out, Gary.
You mentioned Akello.
Yes.
He's got a couple picks. I
Yes.
covered a fumble. But are you guys, from what you're seeing, are you guys close to getting more turnovers, or have you just not had opportunities?
I feel like I answer this question with Gary every single year, but turnovers happen when technique and opportunity meet. And when those things meet together and then you make the play, usually those are the ones how they happen. Akello has a outstanding Cincinnati pick that I coached. I'm telling you that right now. I taught him how to jump in the air, snatch it out of his hand, come down with no. And then every once in a while you get those kind of plays. And right now he has been having technique and opportunity meet, partially because he's a vet, partially because he's very curious, and partially because he's constantly growing and learning in those areas, and he knows when his playoffs are coming, and he's making those plays. And we got some young guys who are going through that same cycle that are trying to figure it out. And those things happen in practice, those things happen in force, and we got to get those things happen more often in the games in order to get those balls back. Hope that answers your question. Gary, if you need me, I'll see you later.